Today I'm going to talk about why communism is inefficient in many ways. First of all, equality. It's the main principle of communism, it seems, implicitly or explicitly. So let's talk about it. First of all, if you push for everybody should have an equal chance, how are you the one to decide what an equal chance is? Take two families. Take an individual in private school and take an individual, let's just say, in government housing and low-income housing. Let's say the individual in low-income housing doesn't have great parental figures, stereotypical and factually resonant with that environment. And then you take that private school individual, which same can be said, maybe absent parental figures, but nonetheless, what both have is opportunity. And that's what a capitalist society provides. It's the opportunity to do well if you really try hard. An individual who's not the private school kid has an even greater opportunity due to his certain circumstances. His circumstances given to him by God. And there's a reason every single one of us is born into a family. And I don't want to virtue preach here or anything like that, because I really think that I have a good idea, but I don't claim to know it all, and only God knows. That individual has a greater chance of true foundational success in addition to outward success. The kid at private school, he runs the risk of losing his pivot, I would say. Equally as successful potentials for both of the individuals. However, there's pros and cons to each. So how are you to decide who's unequal? Isn't that prejudice and oppressive in some ways? And that seems to be a characteristic that is far from what the Democratic Party, the socialist parties campaign for. They don't like oppression. So when they're labeling people as more disadvantaged, you see the paradox. So the second thing is, let's talk about equality at the end of it. Say that kid, he does go on, say he is the founder of a community group, or he starts a business and he becomes very successful. Well, what the Democrats are pushing, what the socialists and liberals in Canada, for reference, are pushing is that now that kid who started off with the rougher upbringing finds success, and maybe the wealthy kid at the private school doesn't. Maybe the roles reverse. That is equilibrium. That is what happens in a capitalist market. Now, if you intervene on that the second time, it's very problematic, and I'll tell you why. Because now you are limiting someone's potential. Before, they had equal potential, but in the sense of taking where people stand and become and turn into, everybody's evolving until they die, but take somebody at the tax age or in a tax situation, which is the vessel that they claim to make everybody equal, the fiscal policy to make everybody equal. And now the roles are reversed, and that person is now limited to what they can do because they can't exercise that capital and reinvest and innovate. Now that's going to a government which is taking away from their purpose. See, communism will help nobody but the people who don't want to try hard, okay? And as capitalists, we have a duty to make a market and to create a market and facilitate a market that allows equal opportunity and potential for everybody. If you end up in a worse place at the result of your decisions, that is on you. That is accountability you must take. And as far as people with greed and do it in exploitative ways to accrue their wealth, well, that is not something we stand for, and that is certainly not true capitalism. Capitalism is using the capital, reinvesting in the community, and making the world a better place. Thank you very much for listening. Visit the NRP page. Take care.